Hello, my name is Ava B, and I'm a student at the University of Washington, Tacoma. I'm involved in a class project where we interview local leaders. As of recently, I'm trying to figure out my own road because I believe that by hearing the stories of people like yourself, I can have guidance towards my career. Before we start, I want to thank you for agreeing to arrange this interview with me, Kirsten, as well as clearing the time in your busy schedule. I'm very interested in your story as well as the path that took you to make you to where you are today. Could you please mention a couple facts about yourself?
Well, my name is Kirsten Nelson, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I've been in this field for about 11 years now. And prior to that, I had several other careers that we can talk about in a few minutes. But I finally hit this space in life where I am very, very happy, and I feel like I'm doing what I need to do.
Thank you. So to begin, I have a couple questions, one of which is that I'm currently 19 years old, and I was wondering, what were some difficulties you faced or decisions that you had to make at my age?
Well, I started out with the idea that you go straight to college from high school. So I did. I went to the University of Puget Sound, and I had no idea what I truly wanted to do, but I had an idea based on my childhood thought that I wanted to be an occupational therapist. So I went into the program, and I absolutely hated it. By the time I was 19, I was in my second year of college, and I don't regret my time at UPS because I met my husband there, but I didn't stay. I moved then to another university down in California, San Jose State, and I was about 20, and I still really didn't have any idea what I wanted to do, so I took classes in education.
So did you face any confusion upon entering this college, like this isn't the right school for me, or I didn't make the right choice?
I absolutely knew. I loved the school. I loved the people. I was very uncertain about the career choice. The first year was different because I was taking English and math and all the core classes. By the time I got into all the anatomy and physiology and things like that, I just realized that it was too scientific, and that just didn't fit with how my brain works.
What were some interests that you had at a young age?
When I was young, I really wanted to do something in the helping field. So my dad's job was, he repaired medical equipment. So often he would meet all these people that were in wheelchairs or bedbound, and he would go in and just repair all their equipment. And so then he started volunteering at the University of Washington at the Special Olympics, and he would do all the repairs on the wheelchairs when people were competing, and I always went with him, and I loved doing it. So then I started volunteering at Camp Easter Seal when I was like 12 as a junior counselor, and I really enjoyed working with just the diverse population of kids, and I connected with all of them. So I learned I love people, and I decided to do that's when I decided I would do occupational therapy, and I thought I would do it with children. So yeah, as a child, I had all these interests in being in the helping field, and I directed it towards occupational therapy.
When was the first time you took an academic risk, and what was it? This could be a decision that you were uncertain about, or perhaps had factors that made you doubt yourself.
I took a lot of academic risks, actually, but the first time was when we moved down to California, my husband and I went to San Jose State, and I honestly went from occupational therapy to teaching because I thought it would be kind of in that helping realm. Then after a year we left, so I never finished that program. So my next risk was deciding where to go, and I went to several community colleges just to finish up my core curriculum, and then I transferred into Western Washington's Human Services program. The big risk for me there was back then in the late 80s, early 90s, there weren't a lot of jobs that required human services. There was social worker, there was teacher, there was mental health counselor, but there wasn't just human services. So the risk was the investment of time and finances to get a degree that I really didn't know how I would use it.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever doubted what path you're taking? As in, were you primarily influenced by yourself or the opinions of others initially?
Oh, definitely by the opinions of others. Because when I claimed I wanted to go into occupational therapy, they were all like, that's a great career, you should do that, you'd be good at it. So then I felt obligated. So that's how I ended up pursuing it for several years. And then the teaching one, it wasn't pressure, but my mom did it, and I thought, oh, that would be kind of fun. And the human services was totally me. I had to figure out how to make marriage, working life, go with college, and it was very difficult because my husband had already graduated. But then I went in and got my master's in teaching right after I graduated. So then I went back and got my master's in education, and I really thought I wanted to do it. I was super excited. I had been working as a paraeducator at a school for the deaf, and I was fluent in sign language, and I just loved it. And then during that time while studying it, I started to have really severe anxiety, and I was determined to graduate, and I didn't know the source of the anxiety, so it really stunted where I was at. I learned a lot about myself personally because I had anxiety, I started to get depressed, and so I ended up going to counseling personally for myself. And through that, what I realized was I had a lot of history from my past. My dad died when I was in high school. I kind of cut him off because I was angry, so I had a lot of guilt, and then he passed away. And so I started working as a teacher and I started counseling, and what I realized was I'd always wanted to be in the helping profession, and teaching is certainly helping children, but it wasn't what I was looking for. So then I went ahead and told my husband I felt like I should go back to school one more time, and when I did that and I graduated, and my motivation, I had dealt with all my own stuff, and I was so passionate because I felt like someone took the time to support me and help me, and I clarified so many things, and my life was infinitely better. I wanted to be able to give back and provide that for other people, the hope that came from that. It's hard to decide what you want to be forever when you're 18, 20, 22, 24. I mean, when I went back to school to get this master's degree in mental health counseling, I already had my daughter. She was 5 years old. So yes, I struggled throughout those earlier years, but once I committed to this degree, and all my own stuff was not necessarily resolved permanently, but it wasn't a part of my learning my own counseling issues, I found that space where I really felt like finally I found my helping profession that I was searching for from when I was like 12 and at the camp Easter Seal volunteering. So it finally clicked in my 30s.
Right. How do you personally believe you can find success when faced with failure?
I say never give up hope. And my personal philosophy in my counseling is there is no failure. As long as you can look at the path you've been on and see, I think no matter what class I took, at what point I learned something from all of it. And so instead of seeing it as wasted or failure, I determined that I studied in college helped me become who I'm at. And where I'm at right now is a space where I feel very confident. I see people healing. I have all the benefits of a satisfying career. And so I've just determined that I want to communicate to other people that there is no failure. As long as, even when people are severely depressed and their motivation is really, really tiny, if they're willing to put one little tiny new thing into their world to try and help, then they've succeeded. And if they can't, they still didn't fail. It just tells us the depth of where they're at.
Mm-hmm. So after everything we've talked about, is there one piece of advice that you'd like to share that would help me define my own road or pathway in life?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because you are young and you are, looking at different things. You have the communication and the art and the different areas that you're interested in. My advice to you would be to, keep talking to people and asking people. And when you feel stuck, to just remind yourself that there's no failed journey. And it's okay if I don't decide what I want to do forever when I'm 18, 19 years old. The fact that you can change your mind, it's not ideal. I spent a lot of money on college, but I always encourage people, don't settle for something that isn't gratifying because you spend so much time working. You know, keep striving till you find that place.